Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Ano oras mo man napapanood ang video ito, naway nasa mabuti kang kalagayan. Um, this is our second session and this is our second pre-recorded session in the role. Kasi meron tayong incoming accreditation, level 4 accreditation, no? Kailangan i-asynchronous yung class para ma-focus yung mga documents na kailangan para makapasa yung ating college. Okay, so this is sacrifice of all. But despite of that, hindi dapat ma-sacrifice yung learnings, no? Kaya I'll pre-recording this session para though merong ibang activity ay patuloy na nabibigay yung learnings na nasa inyong syllabus. Ayun, let's start. Last topic ang pinag-aralan natin ay tungkol sa project. No, nalaman natin na project is a unique activity na ginagawa ng iba't ibang company. No, nakakaiba sa pang-araw-araw nilang ginagawa or the business as usual. No, nalaman natin na merong classifications ang project. There are 5. And then, pinag-usapan din natin yung project life cycle na meron itong 4 na stages. The initiation stage, the planning stage, the execution stage, and the closure stage. At pag-uusapan natin, ngayong araw ay isa. No, dun sa 4 na life cycle na yon, yung una doon, which is the project initiation. And under that, marami tayong subtopics. Pero in this session, we are going to tackle the first subtopic, which is about the strategic management and project selection. Okay, so let's start. Okay, kapag sinabi nating strategic planning, ano yung ibig sabihin nito? No? Supposedly, kayo ay isang grupo ng armies, no, ng mga sundalo at meron kayong mahigpit na kalaban. At ang goal ninyo sa laban ninyo, kailangan kayo yung manalo. So, anong kailangan yung gawin? No, there should be a plan, a tactics. No, for example, you need to have a clear goal. Ano yung goal nyo? Yung matalo yung kalaban. Paano nyo gagawin yon? Okay, mag-aalat kayo ng pondo para sa mga tao na kasama sa inyong batalyon, yung armas, the tactics in general. So, ang tawag doon is the strategy. So, ganun din sa mga organization or mga kumpanya na inyong pagtatrabahuhan in the future. Sabi natin noong nakaraan, we are living in a very capitalistic economy kung saan lahat pwede may-ari ng negosyo. No? Yung inyong product, merong katulad yung ibang negosyo. Therefore, para kayo yung magkaroon ng malaking benta at maungasan niyo yung kalaban niyo sa market, ang kailangan niyo ay magkaroon ng isang strategy. So, as defined, strategy is making a decision how the organization will compete its rival in the industry where it is participating. Okay, so project converts strategy into a new product, service, or processes. Okay, yun yung tinatawag natin na strategy. Now, ano naman si strategic planning? So, ang strategic planning ay proseso na ginagawa ng iba't ibang organization or ng kumpanya para sa ikauunlad and for the success of their business. So, strategic planning is a process that organization use to set goals, priorities, and directions for the future. So, it involves setting goals, no? Yung mga kumpanya, ina-identify nila kung ano yung mga goal na dapat nilang ma-achieve in a long term. For example, create innovative products, satisfy the customer's needs. Okay, that are just example of goals na maaring goal ng mga companies. Next is analyzing the environment. So, the organization is assessing internal and external factors that could impact the organization's success. So, yung internal factors is within the organization. For example, sino yung mga tao na kailangan nilang i-hire para sa organization? Ano yung mga steps, mga processes na dapat nilang gawin para patuloy na maunlad yung organization? Then external factors yun outside of the company such as their linkages to other companies, for example. Ayun. And then developing strategies. So organizations are creating plans and approaches to achieve the goal set by considering strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Okay, gumagawa yung iba't ibang kumpanya ng mga plano na ginagamitan ng SWOT analysis. Kung familiar po kayo sa SWOT analysis, ito ay may 4 na parts: the strength, the weaknesses, the opportunities, and the threats. So, base dun sa SWOT analysis na yun yung kanilang pagbabasehan ng kanilang mga plano. And then, allocating resources, they The organization should determine how to best allocate resources such as time, money, and manpower to support the strategies. Okay, and then implementing plans, organization puts the strategies into action through various initiatives and projects, and of course monitoring and evaluation kung saan yung kung tinitingnan nila no per month, per year, lagi nilang ini-ensure kung yung goals ba ng kumpanya or yung strategy ng kumpanya ay nasusunod. So overall, strategic planning helps organization to be proactive, adapt to change, and work towards a shared vision of success. It's a way of charting a course for organization's future growth and development. So nabanggit natin dapat ang isang strategic plan is proactive. Ibig sabihin, they learn from their mistakes, no? There is an active learning that happens. So kung merong mga naging pagkakamali yung organization in the past, they reflect on it para hindi nila yun maulit. And then they adapt to change, no? Nothing is constant but change, no? Change is always there. No, para patuloy na maging successful yung company or yung organization, kailangan nakakasabay sila sa changes. For example, the customer satisfaction, dapat alam nilang i-trace na yung mga uso nung unang panahon, hindi na yung uso ngayon. So, kailangan nilang makahabol dun sa uso ngayon para patuloy silang tangkilikin sa market. And then, they work toward a shared vision of success. No, kailangan sa isang organisasyon, lahat kumikilos, lahat may ambag. No? Bawal ang pabigat. Kasi kung mayroong pabigat sa organization, magiging mabagal yung progress or success ng isang organization. Okay, so that is strategic planning. No, nakaangkla dun sa tinatawag nating strategic planning, yung pagpili natin ng mga proyekto. Okay. The project is aligned with our strategic plan. Now, there is something we call as project management maturity. So, it refers to the level of sophistication and effectiveness in an organization's project management practices. Okay, sa pagpili ng proyekto, nabanggit natin na nakaraan, there should be a project management. Now, itong project management maturity, tumutukoy ito sa kung nasa anong level na ng pagpaplano yung inyong organisasyon. Like for example, you are in a low maturity level. So dito, usually kapag bagong tayo pa lang yung organization, there is yung trust, hindi pa siya nabibuild. There is lapses in communication. Minsan nagkakahiyaan yung mga tao na nandun sa organization. Kaya nagiging ending, hindi nagiging maganda. But eventually, they learn from their mistakes. They became more proactive, no? Kung dati hindi sila nag-uusap ng matino, ngayon mag-uusap na sila ng matino. Dapat meron silang mapagkasunduan at the end of the day. Para, yung proyekto or yung project na kailangan nilang gawin is mag-succeed. So, that is any moderate maturity. At kapag naman nasa high maturity, ito yung ideal na company kung saan nagkakasundo ang lahat, no? Kahit magkaroon ng pagkakamali nagkaroon ng lapses o magkaroon ng pagkakamali, na-adapt pa rin nila na patuloy pa rin silang lalago. Though nagkaroon ng mga mistakes, no? They just learn from it. Tapos, ginagamit nila yon to reflect and then para yung strategic planning, yung strategy ng company ay patuloy nilang ma-achieve. Okay, so much for the project strategic planning. Let's proceed to the project selection. Okay, how do we select a project, no? There are a lot of factors, syempre, kung paano tayo pipili ng isang proyekto. But first, let's define what is project selection. So, it is a critical process in project management that involves identifying, evaluating, and prioritizing potential projects to determine which one aligns best with an organization's strategic goals and resources. Nakalagay dito, it is a critical process. Ibig sabihin, hindi madali ang pumili ng project. Out of various project na meron or suggested projects na meron ng inyong company, kailangan yung pumili doon. Okay? Kailangan yung project yung pipiliin ay aligned sa strategic goals. Okay, kung ang strategic goals nyo ay mag-introduce ng innovative products, kailangan yung project na gagawin nyo is nakaangkla doon. As well as hindi lamang dapat natin i-consider yung strategic goals natin. Syempre, kailangan din natin i-consider ang ating resources. Kasi kung magre-risk tayo ng magre-risk without calculating or without estimating kung ano yung ilalabas natin at kung ano yung ibabalik, maring magkaroon ng conflict in the end. Therefore, it is a critical process. So, there is a generic process of selection. Ibig sabihin, kadalasan, most of the time, ito yung proseso kung paano pumipili ng proyekto ang isang company. So, una, they identify projects that support the strategy. Meron kasi tayong tinatawag na project portfolio. Dito nakalaman lahat ng mga pwedeng maging projects natin. At ang pipiliin dito sa process of selection na to is yung aligned sa strategy natin. And then, you evaluate and prioritize projects. So, evaluate nyo kung ito bang proyekto na ito ay feasible, ito ba ay kayang gawin ng ating kumpanya? Worth it ba na mag-invest tayo ng pera dito? And then number 3 is the select and initiate projects and review projects regularly. So this is just a generic process of project selection. And when a firm chooses a project selection model, the following criteria developed should be shoulder. Kasi meron dalawang uri ng project selection models. Itatakil natin later on. Pero kapag pipili ang isang company ng project models, kailangan nandito yung limang ito. Itong limang nasa slide. Realism, capability, flexibility, ease of use, cost, and easy computation ay nandoon sa project model na yon. Okay. Una, realism. Kailangan yung model ay magiging realistic, hindi siya imagination. Kasi iba yung imagination sa possible. Kapag imagination, hindi natin sure kung magkakatotoo. Pero yung possibility, kaya natin gawin. With the use of resources, with the use of our time, the effort ng company. And then yung capability, kaya ba ng resources natin, kaya ba ng pera natin itong model na ito? Kung itong model na ito ang gagamitin natin, matatansya ba niya yung kailangang oras, yung kailangang resources, kailangang mga tao? The next is flexibility kasi sa pagpili ng project in general, kailangan i-expect natin or i-anticipate natin na mayroong mga risk, may mga uncertainties, there are conflicts na maaring mangyari. Now, kung yung model na ating pipiliin, kaya ba nitong makipagsabayan dun sa threats? Or baka naman yung project selection model natin pipiliin ay nagkaroon lang ng isang problema, ibibigay na. Hindi iyon flexible. And then, ease of use cost, kung magiging practical ba yung model na ating gagamitin. And then, easy computation. Siyempre, kahit naman tayo gusto natin madali lang i-compute, hindi dadaan sa mabusising proseso bago natin makita kung yung project ba is profitable or not. Ngayon, yung model na pinag-uusapan natin dito a while ago, ito yun. Types of project selection model is either non-numeric models or numeric models. Kapag non-numeric models, ito yung mga models of project selection na hindi na natin kailangan ng numbers. More on qualitative ito and on common sense. Okay? Kasi minsan, ito medyo subjective ang dating na sa tingin na, kung yung project na mapipili natin, kung yung project na nasa portfolio, sa tingin natin, ay kailangan nating gawin, yun ang pipiliin natin. Ganun yung logic ng non-numeric models. Pero sa numeric models, kailangan ng computation. Kailangan nating i-compute yung investment natin, ano yung ibabalik doon. Is it profitable ba or not? Kasi kung hindi naman profitable pala yung project na yun, bakit ba tayo susugal ng napakalaking pera? Bakit ba natin isusugal ang ating resources? Okay, yun yung pagkakaiba nilang dalawa. Tapos na numeric models, more on words, more on qualitative analysis. Pero si numeric models, more on quantitative analysis. So, isa-isahin natin yung iba't ibang types or models. Iba't ibang types nung dalawang project selection models. Okay, unahin natin si non-numeric models. Meron tayong tinatawag na sacred cow model. Ito yung mga uri ng project na kailangan yung gawin dahil ito yung sinuggest ng mga nasa top management like mga president, CEO, COO, or yung mismong may-ari ng organization. Like for example, ay nagsuggest si si head ng yung head nyo ng operations na gumawa ng isang vegan menu, for example, sa isang restaurant, no? Mag-introduce ng mga vegan mag-introduce sa mga vegan menu or mga plant-based diet sa inyong organization. So, kailangan nyo gawin yun kasi yun yung gusto ng inyong president. And then, meron din tayong tinatawag na the operating necessity na kung mababalikan ninyo yung ating topic last time, which is about the classification of projects. Kaangkla nito yung emergency projects kung saan kailangan yung project na ito ay kailangan gawin kasi nakasalalay dito yung overall nakita. No. For example, critical machine breaks down and need to be replaced. So, kapag hindi pinalitan itong machine na to, kikita ba yung organization if ever na ito ay masira? 'Di ba? Hindi. So, it's a common sense na kailangan gawin yung proyekto na to kasi emergency, kasi kailangan. Ano po? And then this competitive necessity naman ay kailangan nating gawin yung project kasi yung kalaban nating kumpanya merong ganito. Kung mapapansin niyo sa mga phone manufacturers, pag bibili kayo ng cellphone, no, magkakapareho yung mga specs ng mga cellphone, pero magkakaiba yung manufacturers. So this is masasabi natin na yun ay isang produkto ng isang competitive necessity models of project selection. And then project line extension, nakita natin na yung ating existing products ay kumikita. Therefore, kailangan nating i-sustain yun sa pamamagitan ng isang panibagong project. Okay. Kunwari, ay kumikita yung ganito na lang, yung mix and match ng sikat na fast food restaurant. Like, kumikita naman talaga yung kanilang mga yung mga foods nila sa kanilang menu. Pero kailangan na mas lalo pang mag-boost ng sale. At yun sa pamamagitan ng kanilang project na mix and match, no? This is their marketing strategy. And then meron tayong tinatawag na comparative benefit model kung saan sa napakarami nating project na pwedeng gawin, ito yung pinaka-profitable, no? Ganun lang. Marami tayong project. Tapos nakita mo yung isa, feeling mo yun yung pinaka-profitable. Therefore, yun yung project nyong gagawin. And then the Q-sort model, it is a psychometric method for classifying items according to the opinions of group or person or for evoking group consensus of this classification. So ito naman ay uri ng non-numeric models na nakabase sa taste, no, sa survey ninyo. No? Nag-survey kayo sa maraming estudyante, nalaman ninyo na ang kailangan ng mga estudyante ay iced coffee. Therefore, kailangan nyo mag-offer ng iced coffee. No, ganun ang Q-sort model. Okay, tapos na tayo sa non-numeric models. Dako naman tayo dito sa mga numeric models. Like sinabi natin kanina, it is more of quantitative process. Okay, ito ay nakabase sa profit o profitability ng isang proyekto. Like for example, this payback period, no, it measures the time it will take to recover the project investment. So nakabase yung payback period sa mag-i-invest tayo. Tapos may in-expect tayong sales, i-divide natin to. Tapos yung result, yun yung panahon or yun yung taon kung kailan natin pwedeng mabawi yung ating puhunan. For example, sa ating problem, no, let's say that the project requires an initial investment of 100,000 and is expected to generate annual cash inflows of 25,000. The payback period would be, okay, sa formula, payback period equals inflow initial investment over the annual cash. Ibig sabihin, yung i-invest mo, yung puhunan mo over the expected na papasok sa iyo annually. Kasi this is year-based. No? So, ang gagawin natin, i-divide natin siya, 100,000 pesos divided by 25,000 pesos. The answer is 4. So, therefore, mababawi natin kung yung kita natin annually is 25,000 dun sa project na yon, mababawi natin yung 100,000 nating in-invest within 4 years. Another sample ng numeric models ay tinatawag natin na net present value. So it is a numerical calculation that shows the present value of an investment based on expected income from the investment in future years minus the cost of the production. So ito yung kaniyang formula. Okay. Let's say investment project Blue development of a new version of product Blue Dolphin. The cost development is 100,000 this year. Next year, we will be able to sell the first batch for 70,000 and in 2 years, the second batch for 50,000. By given the interest rate of 10%, what is the net present value of that project? Okay, so ang formula natin, present value is equals to FV over 1 plus R to the nth. Okay, yung FB, ibig sabihin future value. Yung 1 plus R, yung R din ibig sabihin rate. Tapos yung exponent natin is the length of time or years. Okay, so let's substitute. Present value. Next year, dito tayo sa next year. Makikita nyo sa ating, sa ating slide. Next year, ang cash in natin is 70,000. So, i-substitute natin, FB is 70,000 over 1 plus yung rate natin is 10%. So, this is 0.10. Okay, tapos yung exponent natin is 2. Tama po ba? 2. Okay. So, isusolve natin yung 1 plus 10% into the second power. The answer is 1.10. So, 70,000 divided by 1.10 equals 63,636. So, paano natin malalaman kung ang isang project using the net present value ay i-reject natin or ipagpapatuloy? So, kapag nakita natin na positive, malaki, positive ang resulta kapag kinumpute natin, ibig sabihin, pipiliin natin yung project na yun. Pero if negative yung sagot, so, i-reject natin yung project. And ganun lang po, yung net present value. And then, meron din tayong tinatawag na benefit cost ratio. Ito yung tinatawag din natin na profitability index. So, this is a ratio of the present value of cash inflows at required rate of return to the initial cash outflow of the investment. Okay, let's say that the project has a present value of benefits amounting to 150,000 and a present value of cost totaling 100,000. The benefits cost ratio would be calculated as follows. Okay, BCR equals present value of benefits over present value of cost. So we're just going to divide these numbers. So present value of benefits sa ating problem is 150,000 over the value of cost is 100,000. So, i-divide natin siya. Ang sagot is 1.5. So, in this example, the benefit cost ratio is 1.5, indicating that the present value of benefits is 1.5 times greater than the present value of the cost, suggesting a potentially favorable investment. So, these are just few examples of numerical models in project selection. Okay, dumako naman po tayo sa project portfolio management. Nabanggit natin kanina na ang project portfolio ay naglalaman ng lahat ng mga projects na pwedeng gawin ng isang company. Now, kailangan din dito ng management para ma-ensure natin na yung mga project natin na gagawin ngayon or in the future ay naka-align pa rin sa goals ng ating company. So, as defined, PPM is a strategic process that organization use to manage and prioritize a collection of projects, ensuring alignment with their business objectives and overall strategy. So it also involves the centralized management of one or more portfolio of projects to achieve a specific organizational goals efficiently. Okay, at sino ang may mga responsibility and accountability sa portfolio management? Kabilang dito yung mga business unit or sponsors, the project manager, the project portfolio manager itself, and the executive team. Okay, ngayon nalaman na natin kung paano pumili ng isang proyekto. Okay, nakita natin na mayroong mga numeric and non-numeric model. So, kung kayo yung gagawa ng business, kayo nang bahala kung alin doon yung inyong magiging tactics. Ang mahalaga yung mga project nyo na mapipili ay naka-align sa goals ng inyong company or ng inyong organization. Now, dumako naman tayo sa pagsulat ng isang business proposal. So, paano ba sumulat ng isang business proposal? Nabanggit natin during our orientation na this is among your final requirements. Okay. So, una muna nating alamin kung sino ba or ano si project proposal. Syempre, kapag gagawa tayo ng project, kailangan there is a project proposal na need nating ipasa sa executive team. Tapos, magko-conduct ng meeting, like makikita nyo sa mga pelikula, di ba? Kapag nagpasa ka ng project proposal, there is a session after that. So, ano bang nilalaman ng project proposal? O ini-explain nyo dito na yung project na inyong pinopropose ay aligned at nakaangkla sa strategic goals at makakatulong para sa success ng inyong organization. So, hina-highlight ninyo dito na kakaiba yung i-introduce, no? There is a uniqueness. It is innovative na hindi nyo pa nagagawa na as organization at hindi pa nagagawa ng inyong mga kalaban, o kung nagawa naman ng mga kalaban nyo sa negosyo ay meron kayong panibagong strategy kung paano nyo ito mabebenta sa market. Okay, so when crafting the technical approach section of a business project proposal, it's important to provide a clear and detailed plan for the implementation of the project from a technical perspective. So, ibig sabihin, kailangan malinaw, hindi paligoy-ligoy ang inyong plano. Nakaalat doon kung ano yung estimated cost, estimated time, the resources. Okay, para ma-approve syempre ng board para maisakatuparan yung project na inyong pinopropose. So, there is a suggested outline for a business proposal. So, una, kailangan merong cover letter. Ano laman ng cover letter? Nakalagay doon kung ano yung nature, kaligiran ng inyong project. No? Bakit, i-explain nyo doon sa letter na yun, boss, ito po yung aming project proposal, no. Ang itong project na ito, align ito sa goal ng ating kumpanya at maaaring makatulong ito para mapalago pa yung pera natin dito sa ating business. So kailangan clear, no, malinaw. In what sense na makakatulong ito sa inyong organization? Okay, so write a cover letter as an important marketing instrument. Number 2, make clear primary nature and general benefits of the project and use simple technical language. So, hindi natin kailangan ng mga high-sounding words. No? Wala naman tayo sa paggawa ng tula or ng pelikula or ng spoken word poetry. No? Daily language is enough, no? Para may explain nyo yung inyong part. Okay, after that, kailangan nating i-include ang ating executive summary. This is a 1 or 2 pages synopsis of the project nature and technical problem to be solved. Dito nyo na i-explain kung tungkol saan yung project ninyo. Kung ano yung naging basehan ninyo, bakit ito yung project ninyo. For example, gusto nyong maglabas ng bagong model ng cellphone. Dito naman tayo sa cellphone, ano? Okay, ang napili ninyong project model selection is the Q-sort model. No, base sa inyong survey, gusto ng mga kabataan, no, yung target ninyo na market ay malinaw yung camera. There is at least 100 MP is enough. Pero affordable or kaya nilang bilhin. Mga ganun ba yung mga lumalabas sa survey? No, ngayon yung naging basehan ninyo ng pagpo-propose ng project na mag-innovate kayo or mag-introduce ng bagong cellphone sa market. Okay, so you need to explain that on your executive summary. And then after that, there is a part of how to approach solution of a technical problem. Siyempre, ilalagay nyo na doon ano yung methods, step-by-step process kung paano nyo ma-achieve or magagawa yung project. And then, we have the plan for implementation of the project. Dito na nakalagay yung estimates ng time, kung ilang buwan ba i-develop yung prototype ng cellphone na yun at bago ito mailabas sa market. Magkano yung guguguli natin sa paggawa nito ng pag-develop nitong bagong project na to. Or ano yung mga materials na gagamitin natin as well as the resources including the tao na gagawa, the human resources, of course. Okay, and then ano pa nakalagay dito? The set of major milestone to break project into phases. Okay, lagay nyo sa initiation. Kapag nasa initiation page kayo, ano yung mga gagawin ninyo? Kapag nasa planning na, anong gagawin ninyo? Execution, anong gagawin up to the closure. And then record equipment, overhead, and administrative cost, and contingency plans such as slack time. So, nakalagay din dito yung ine-expect nyo na maaring conflict or risk na maaring ninyong makasalamuha during the time of developing of the project. And then we have plan for logistic and administrations, control over the subcontractor, the nature and timing of all reports, yung progress reports, the budget, and the audit. And then the change management, termination procedures, and touch of class capabilities. Yung touch of class capabilities, those are the artist renderings, meeting facilities, video conferencing, and computer graphics. And then the last part is the description of the past experience of the project team. So ilalagay niyo dun sa inyong project proposal, sino yung nag-propose? Okay, sino yung mga tao na maaring kabilang dun sa team na nagpo-propose yung project and then nakalagay din yung kanilang resume. Bakit may resume? Para alam ni executive manager kung ano yung capability ng tao na kabilang sa inyong grupo. And then, ayun, yun ang suggested business outline para sa pagbuo ng isang project proposal. Okay, so that would be the end of our session for today. I hope na may natutunan kayo kahit this is a pre-recorded session. Kung meron kayong mga katanungan, just put that on our messenger group chat so I can accommodate your questions. And then I will be posting your worksheets to follow po ito sa ating Google Classroom. And ayun, that would be all for today. Bye-bye. See you next week or see you later. See you when I see you.